Billy Creekmore, Chapter 22. The Baldwin Felts Guards open fire, and my world forever changes. It was spring. The snows melted and the trees were filling out with green. We gathered at the camp in the holler for our meetings, and Clayton was our guide. He called like a bobwhite if the coast was clear, whooping like a whippoorwill if the guards was coming our way. We were getting ready for the day the strike would begin. The UMW sent rations and tents, and we set them up in the woods, for sure enough we knew we'd be run out of town as soon as the strike begun. We was preparing for the long haul, and aiming to shut down all the mines in the Tug River Valley. Every day Mr. Newgate lost money, said the UMW man, brought us closer to our goals. It was joyful in a way, exciting the way telling my stories used to be. Knowing there was a spy about kept me on my toes, but even this added some fun. I loved tipping my hat to Mr. Wheaton in the morning and dropping my eyes when I passed the Baldwin Felts man like I was ever so scared. I'd even fake a tremble if they yelled at me to look an elder in the eye. "Yes, sir," I'd say, and look at him like I was about to burst into tears, but inside my heart was cold and glad I could fool him and go about on the sly, working for the Union and planning our strike. It was in the middle of the night, sometime in April, with the sky sprinkled with stars. We was stocking boxes of canned goods in the tent in the woods. A lantern hung above us. Clayton, Uncle Jim, Mr. Moon, and I were working together. Other folks in other tents, not far off, doing the same. Clayton heard the first shots. "Listen up," he said. "I heard gunfire." His words were barely out when I heard it too, and then there was more. We heard footsteps running and miners yelling out to one another. You could hear dogs in the distance and the sound of wood breaking, like maybe they was taking a hatchet to the tents or else breaking through the trees. "Get out of the tents," a voice yelled at us. "It's the Baldwin Felts, and they're coming for us. They're shooting up the camp." Clayton tore open the tent flap, and out in the night we went running. I could hear the dogs and see some of the guards running with torches and guns. Shots broke out, and one bullet whizzed past me, sounding like the singe of a match. Out of the corner of my eye I saw Uncle Jim fall. "Keep running, Billy," yelled a voice. It was Clayton. I turned to see him kneeling by Uncle Jim, who was laid out on the ground, his chest covered in blood. "Don't stop, Billy. Keep running." Another bullet whizzed by, and I saw Clayton jerk backward. His body was spread out not far from Uncle Jim's. I didn't have to get close to know both of them was dead. I ran through the woods, my heart bursting, my lungs feeling like they was being stabbed with knives. I ran away from the gunshots, the dogs barking, the men yelling in the night. I picked up one path, then abandoned it for another. It was 2 miles or more into Holly Glen, and I ran the whole way. I tore open the front door, and Aunt Agnes rose from her chair when she saw me. "What, Billy? What is it, boy?" "They shot Uncle Jim. They shot him, and he fell. And Clayton bent down to be with him, but he told me to keep running, and both of them are dead." The words near broke me. My chest was heaving and aching so, and then I started bawling, and I couldn't stop till Aunt Agnes put her hands on my shoulders and shook me a little. "Stop it, Billy. You've got to stop crying and keep your wits about you. You've got to run away now, 'cause soon the guards will be coming into town and rounding up all of you that's run off. And there'll be more shooting and more killing, and they'll be after you, 'cause you're in the Union, so you've got to leave now." It was like she had been expecting this all along and had decided long ago what to do once the shooting started. In a flash, she pulled together a sack of food and supplies. She packed a knife and some rope, a couple bottles of her medicine, and an old sheet to rig up a tent from a tree. "Follow the train tracks to Charleston," she said. "Ain't it dangerous for you to stay? Shouldn't you come with me?" "I'm no threat to Mr. Newgate and his guards. I'm just a woman. I don't work in the mines, and I can't join the Union. But you're a Union man, one that's already planning strikes, and he'll be out to get you, so you've got to leave." "Come with me. I'm too afraid to go alone." "I can't, Billy. I'd only slow you down. Besides, the best thing I can do for folks is stay here and help tend to those that's been hurt. You've got to go now, before the guards set on the town. Now don't forget these." She took the postcards and broken necklace out of my old tin and put them in the bag. "I'm lost to you now, for you can't ever come back here. There's only your father now, and you must find him if you can." I took the bag from her. Then she hugged me tight for a moment. "Keep moving, Billy. Put as many miles between you and Holly Glen as you can." And so I left. I turned my back on Holly Glen and the only home and family I ever had. I tore down the footpath along the tracks out of town, not knowing where I was going or if I'd ever see Aunt Agnes again. I don't know how long I kept running, only that dawn came and went and I was still on my feet, only slower now so I could keep going without my heart giving out.